As you will all know, sometimes I like to share with you about the books that I'm reading. Last night, I just finished the book. I'm pretty sure it's a New York Times bestseller. It's called Dopamine Nation by Lembke. It's about dopamine, which is actually a neurochemical that causes us to experience pleasure in the pursuit of wonderful things. We release dopamine when we're going after something that we believe is going to make us feel good. There's a lot in this book, but there's sort of one thing that I learned that really shaped my understanding of life itself. And this has to do with the balance of pleasure and pain. The author talks about the homeostatic drive. Basically, our body is always trying to come into balance. And when it comes to dopamine, this is really significant. We're constantly seeking out pleasure. What the author spoke about is the fact that whenever we have a sudden spike in pleasure, it actually causes our brain to pull us back down to pain in order to reach a balance point in the big picture. And I have actually noticed this with a lot of my friends and people in my life. So for me personally, I made the choice a long time ago not to consume any drugs or alcohol. But of course I have friends who will go out and drink. And I always notice if they go out and drink and they have like a really good night and they feel like really, really good, you know, the next day they tend to be down pretty noticeably from their regular baseline. And I wasn't sure if this was just people I know or if this was everyone. In Dopamine Nation, I learned that essentially this happens to everyone. That essentially after those big highs, we will experience lows and then come back into balance. It's sort of this principle of like what goes up must come down. And just as high as the peak is from our baseline, we will experience a low that is equal to the peak. I think it really touched me because as I mature, I find myself cultivating and craving like a sense of just contentment and peace more and more. I have come to appreciate that feeling of centeredness and balance. That is actually what our body appreciates too. The body is always seeking that balance point rather than the extreme highs or the extreme lows. Not only does our body pull us down if we go up too high as a way to sort of like, almost like a teeter-totter, as a way to sort of reach balance, but the reverse is also true. If we experience pain, the body releases neurochemicals to pull us up toward pleasure to get us back to that baseline. This is actually why many people get like runner's high or you feel really good after working out because you kind of put your body into that little bit of pain and it releases positive endorphins to bring you back up from the pain point. If I get sick and I have like a lot of physical pain, although in the moment it is, well, really painful and really distressing, I've often noticed that I will have a really, really good day of good feeling the very next day. And so I guess I wanted to just share this with all of you because I know that some of you out there have been in a painful period or are going through difficult times. And just as what comes up must go down, what's gone down must come up. And if you're in an experience and it's a very difficult period or it's a dark night of the soul or it's something akin to that, please know that after pain comes pleasure. If you're seeking a life that doesn't have a very intense lows of pain, then you also want to avoid seeking out those highs because the more extreme the highs, the more extreme the lows. And I have found my happy place in really a daily centeredness and contentment. And that's what's felt really good to me as I've matured over time. So I'm wishing all of you peace and centeredness and contentment. And if anybody's interested in sort of modern day dopamine and the effects of addictions and our technologies and our, constant pursuit of feeling better than we are, then you might enjoy the book Dopamine Nation as well. Thank you so much for hearing out these ideas, and maybe they'll spark something within you. I hope you have a great day, many blessings, and namaste. Bye.